Wednesday night. Let's talk hoops. Uh, Glad to be here. Thanks everyone that's been joining. Got a couple of guests that will be joining today, so that's very exciting. But before we get to that, let's just talk a little bit about what's been going on in the hoop world. There's been some big games. Last night's game between Independence and Charlotte Catholic. Charlotte Catholic actually just got done playing a game. I think they beat South Met. But the Independence Catholic game, of course, is always the major game that a lot of people like to talk about. So Blanca had a great game. That a lot. I only got to see like the last 3 or 4 minutes. Watched. I sat down in the car and watched it after leaving our game. Uh, I think Catholic was up by like 8. Indy kind of chopped them down, chopped them down, and it got to the point where Indy was it was either tied or they were down by 2. Um, I know Cam hit a couple of big shots. Block had got they had got a technical foul, and I think the momentum kind of shifted after that to Indy's way. But Blanca finished some great layups. They made a couple of free throws and they won that game. So looking ahead, that kind of gives them the leadway to first place in the conference. They'll end up being the 1 seed. Independence will probably be the 2. So they'll probably meet up in that conference tournament championship where last year, if you keep up with the game, Independence won the first 2, and then Catholic won the conference tournament. But who knows what'll happen this year? I think Catholic's destined to get back to that regional final. I think they're just really hungry. Um, they've been there, I want to say, the last 2 years. So I know this year they kind of want to get past that hump. So we'll see what happens with that. A lot of big games coming Friday. I think Mallard Creek, North Met play against each other. That's going to be huge for both teams. I watched the game with I didn't watch it. I saw the stats from the Mallard Creek and Hopewell game. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, this is bad for the game of basketball." I was like, it's hard to say it's bad for the game of basketball when we look at Charlotte as a whole. Um, so many schools, I think, and we're adding another school. I don't know if it's next year or the year after, but it's another school coming. You look at how talent gets dispersed. We're not like a lot of other counties where you can get all these kids at one school. It's impossible to do that here. Um, yeah, Charlotte Catholic and South played tonight. But if you look at all those schools, it's kind of like, well, what do you do? But we can't all take these kids to the same school. They can't all be spread out. All the talent's not going to go to different schools. A lot of times, talent wants to go to the same school. So it ends up being, if I play on the Eastern region, I'm going to go play with people that I think give me the best chance to win, or get recruited, or the coaches that get me recruited. And maybe it shouldn't be like that, but that's the way it is right now. Um, it's hard to say it shouldn't be that way, though, because I've watched different levels of talent. If just growing up in Charlotte, going to West Charlotte High School, I lived in Harrisburg, right down the street from Central Bears, almost, and went to West Charlotte High School. I wanted to go there. I wanted to play basketball there. It was a dream of mine. I always wanted to play there. So I went there. I found a way to go there. They had a program that allowed me to go there. But that's things that happens now when you're a talented kid, you want to play with other talent. And it's unfortunate for some teams and some schools, but I don't think that's the reason that like it's hurting girls basketball, because girls basketball still got mostly mainly varsity teams. I know a couple programs are still struggling, but I don't think we can say it's hurting girls basketball. You just got to think about the areas. Different areas cause for different things. So that's just my opinion on that. I know everybody's not going to agree to that, but that's just the way I look at it, because it's impossible for every team to be high level. We don't have that. Like, we have a lot of talent, but it's not that much talent in this area. Um, Let's see, fantasy basketball. We looked at the quarterfinals today. Elite Eight, Myers Park and Cannon. Then it was West Rowan and Albemarle. I'm trying to think of the other ones off the top of the head, but I know I can't. Also, Lake Norman versus Independence. That'll be tomorrow. And then Charlotte Catholic and Mallet Creek. Yeah, I know West Met plays Mallet Creek tonight, but Mallet Creek plays against North Met. Is it tonight? If that is the case, I thought it was Friday. Um, North Met and Mallet Creek will play Friday, if I'm not mistaken. It'll be a good game. I'm waiting for Coach Crayton to join here. Coach out of AL Brown. But like I said, it's going to be a lot of good games coming up. You're looking at private schools in their last three games, pretty much. Uh, I've seen the thing that happened with Northside. So there's a lot of things going on. I hate that it had to happen that way. Kind of found out a little bit about the story, but I always leave that to the people to give their answer to. But I respect the Coach Ryan's decision as an athletic director. Very smart, doing what he did, and they'll still be able to play in the state playoffs. So I don't know. One of the things I was wondering is if that means they forfeit those games if they don't play them. I'll probably ask Coach Ryan how that works. But usually, when you don't play a game, you forfeit it. So I want to know how that works for them. See where Coach is. I think she said she was coming. But other than that, I think it's a lot of hot teams right now. You're looking at Catholic's been hot. Mallet Creek hasn't lost since in 2024. I don't know if Catholic has. Lake Norman's extremely hot. They had a really good game with Hickory Ridge. Talked a little bit about that. You got Cannon. Providence Day has been good. Who else? I know I'm missing Western Rand, one loss. Northwest Cabarrus. If you looked at their recent games, they've been hot. I think one of the hottest teams in our whole region, Watauga. Watauga's been lights out. Kate Sears has been one of the better players in the state right now. Grace Christian is Grace Christian. Who else? Eastburg, really good team. I asked a question on social media because not because I'm being nosy or anything, but I really want to know. I have people that reach out to me about middle school programs, and I'm trying to find other middle school programs. I know I coach with Team Curry, but I don't. If I have kids that everybody can't play for Team Curry, it's only a certain amount of spots. Regardless, I want kids to be able to play on these programs, and nobody responded. If I would have said this team is a top five team, and I don't think these teams are, everybody will respond. But when I say something like that, nobody responds. And that was just me trying to figure out how to get more teams involved. Coach Crayton is joining now. Mm-mm-mm. How you doing, Coach?
Hey, I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
For sure. Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. I am a Kannapolis native. I went to A.L. Brown High School,
Okay.
went to Western Carolina for college, and Liberty University.
Okay.
Moved back
How'd you get
home.
into coaching?
So I started with Special Olympics.
Okay.
I was about 19, 20 years old, and I started coaching Special Olympics basketball skills for Cabarrus County.
Okay.
And then I added in Special Olympics volleyball, which I've done for the past 8 years. And my first actual coaching job with the school was middle school volleyball, and I was the JV volleyball coach at A.L. Brown as well, which I
Okay.
still am. And from there, my old middle school coach decided he was going to step down and move away. So he asked if I would take over the middle school program for Kannapolis.
Okay.
And so I did 7th and 8th grade my first year, both teams by
Mm,
myself. And then I did 7th grade the following year, and then I made it to A.L. Brown as the varsity head coach.
okay.
Um, my middle school coach at the time, he also was the varsity assistant coach. So
Okay.
that kind of put me in position to learn under Coach Mark Hogan when he was
Okay.
on staff.
All right. So a lot of the girls that you have now, you probably had them in middle school.
Yeah.
Okay, so that makes sense. The relationship builder. That's a great way to build that relationship. So looking at y'all's record, you guys have already improved since last year. You're going from 9 to 10 wins. Still with a couple games left to play. You're in one of the hardest conferences, probably in the state. Realistically, how do you go about every day dealing with the different teams that you have to play? How do you keep your girls engaged?
It's been a lot easier than I thought, honestly. The girls in the moment of the game, they're in it. As soon as that game's over, it's gone, it's in the past. We're ready to move on to the next day.
Mhm.
Obviously we watch film and see things that we miss, things that we could improve on, but at the end of the day, they're kids. That game's over. They go back to being kids. We start over the next day, looking forward to the next game. So we really don't harp on a lot of the negatives. And my thing is, we focus on every little positive thing that we accomplish as a team. We played Hickory Ridge this past Friday night, and we lost by 14.
Mhm.
A couple weeks before that, they beat us by 42.
Mhm.
So we're taking these small gains and rolling with it, and keeping the girls as positive as possible. I know in the past that's been hard because I've been around them the last few years, and it's been more of a negative environment, and I wanted to stay away from that as much as possible. So
Okay.
we celebrate those small victories, and don't harp on the negatives as
Right.
much.
That definitely keeps the kids engaged and makes them want to come back. I think a lot of programs miss out on that because not everybody's going to be Lake Norman, and you're still competing with those teams, and you still want your kids to understand they're still working to get better. So I get the whole make sure it's a good environment for the kids to be in. Tell us a little bit about some of the players you have on your team this year.
Yeah. So my point guard, Sadie Faulkner, she's a junior. I know she's quite popular
Yeah.
in Kannapolis. That girl can ball. I mean, she can do it all, and she finds ways to get people open, and she really reads the floor well.
Good.
Some of my seniors, I have Ayani Flood. She's one of our shooting guards. That girl, when she's on, there's no stopping her from knocking down some threes. And her defense the past few games has been top notch, and it's been very instrumental in leading our teams to success. I also have John A. Stevens,
Okay.
one of my centers. She's a junior. Last year was her very first year playing basketball,
Mm,
and she's a starter now.
okay. Okay.
To keep everything
That's
rolling.
always a good thing to even have a JV because a lot of programs don't have the JV component, which I mean it sucks because having those kids be able to just come up and fill that void for the next few years, it definitely helps. So I heard you talk about Sadie, and I've heard a lot about Sadie. I actually live probably near Kannapolis. I stay in Concord, so need to get up there to a game, but Tuesday Friday schedules in Cannon, and you know
Mhm.
but I heard that she's been a really good piece for you guys. What is the best attribute for her?
She never stops. And the past few years, I know have been hard on her because the weight of the team has been put on her shoulders, and I think this year been able to be a little more evenly distributed across the
Mhm.
floor, so it takes some weight off of her, and she's able to be more positive and encouraging
Yeah.
throughout the games. But she is a game changer for us,
Okay.
definitely, and I'm glad she's still with us.
Okay. So, how do you take what you learned with the Special Olympics to coaching now at A.L. Brown?
It's taught me to be adaptable and
Mm,
be understanding. And at the end of the day, these are teenage girls.
Right.
coaching. They have a lot going on in school with their families. Just a lot of environmental aspects that you have to kind of take into account.
Yeah.
And coaching Special Olympics taught me more. It's more than just a game. It's more than basketball, and it always will be.
Very much
And
so.
it taught me definitely to change some ways that I approach things and how my teaching styles. And I also teach special education.
Okay.
So that's helped me, differentiate my teaching styles on, based on what the girls need at that time. Um, I'm a visual learner myself, so I like to, send them some videos, show them film, and then also get the kinesthetic part in practice with moving through the plays and everything.
Right. Okay. I respect that. I like that. We've been doing a fantasy basketball tournament. I don't know if you've been keeping up with it. So I'm gonna kind of put you on the spot here. You're
Oh,
gonna say who you would think will win these games. I kind of lost my sheet, but I'm gonna find it.
okay.
First game it was Myers Park versus Cannon. Who do you have winning? And you don't have
Myers
to pay
Park.
attention much. Myers
Myers Park.
Park. Okay, I got you. Myers Park. I like that. The second game was West Rowan and Albemarle.
I'm gonna say Albemarle.
Okay, I like
Those
that.
girls are, I think, a lot tougher than they are given credit for, and
Hmm.
I've stayed watching them, um, this season, and I've been impressed with what I've seen. I think they can hang.
Okay, I definitely I know they can hang. Definitely, it'll be a tough game. West Rowan is low and so is
Mhm.
Albemarle.
Yeah,
Um,
2 great teams.
yeah, both of them are and really good coach too. That's one things I like. Uh, the next one would be Lake Norman versus Independence.
I'm gonna go with Lake Norman.
Okay, Lake Norman's a really good team. And you guys play them in conference, so you know a lot about them. Uh, and the last one is Mallet Creek versus Charlotte Catholic.
Oof. I did teach at Mallard Creek for a year,
Okay.
but I'm gonna have to go with Charlotte Catholic.
Yes, I can understand that. I think that'll be a really good game. That might be a game we see kind of towards the state semifinal. But
Mhm.
I mean, it's a lot of good teams, so we'll never know. But I thank you for answering that. A lot of people, get a little nervous when they have to answer those questions, but you came straight out with it.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
what's the one thing you look forward to for the rest of the season?
I think the fact that these are all teams that we can beat.
Hmm.
We have Cox Mill, South Iredell, Mooresville, and West Cabarrus.
Okay,
So they'll all be good games, which that's exciting.
right.
Not saying we couldn't hang with Lake Norman or Hickory Ridge, but it's a different level of competition that's
Yeah,
closer to ours.
for
So
sure.
it's a little more fun for the girls,
Right.
and they get more excited about it. But I think just finishing the season strong, I would love to get a few more wins,
Hmm.
and especially in conference.
Okay,
I know last year, they were able to beat South Iredell, so I'd love to be able to do that on senior night for them next Friday.
that'll be
And
big.
I think I'm most excited about the senior surprise that I have for the girls.
Okay.
It's definitely gonna shock them. It shocked myself that I actually got it to happen, but
Mhm.
I'm excited on surprising them and making their night fun because I have 6 great girls that, they deserve the world.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you, Coach. Thank you for joining us today. I'm gonna get the next coach up on here, and I appreciate your time.
Oh, of course. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Have a good night.
You too.
All right, we're gonna get Striker Lights on here. He's ready to join. I think he was. Let me make sure I press. No, this. I feel. Oh, there you go. How's it going? Yeah, got a little lag, but I think we're good for sure. I appreciate you joining. How's everything been going? How was the event? Tell us a little bit about it. Right.
Green Central is
Okay.
71st also came to play Oak City Prep.
No.
But overall,
Okay. So, coach, I'm gonna get you to. I don't know what's going on. Like it's a real bad lag. I'm gonna see if you can leave and come back. All right.
okay, we can make that. No problem.
Try to get coach to join back on. I don't know what's going on. With the sometimes just technology don't work out the way you want it to. But had a great event. Like you were saying, a lot of big time recruits there. You got Grace Christian was there. Oak City Prep, Green Level was the host. I think Terry Sanford was there, if I'm not mistaken. And they had some other good teams there as well. We're gonna get Coach back on here. Well, not Coach. Strikalites back on here. He does a really great job. Follow him on all social media. Has some great YouTube. Some he was in Cherokee doing following event too. Let's see if that worked. So
Everything
I can
good?
hear you, but it's like you're frozen. Right. I don't know. Maybe you have to go on the just the cell service. Sometimes you never know with the Wi-Fi. I think it's catching up. I think we're good. You all right? I think we're good. Yeah, I can see you moving a little bit. It's a little shaky.
Well, you're good on my end now.
All right,
How about
there it
now? Am I good
goes.
now?
Yeah, working perfectly now.
There we
Yeah,
go.
there we go.
Took some time. Took some time.
Yeah, we're good
Took some
now.
time. But
So I heard you talking about your event. It's amazing that I talked to you earlier, and you're saying you only had a month time to prepare that. So really, really props to you because even during a fall league, it takes us months to like get it all together and just get everything right. So kudos to you. Um, and I know you were talking about some of the teams. Grace Christian's a beast of a team and you're at so many events, you get to see a lot of those teams, Eastern and Western. Give us some playoff teams that you've seen play on the public school side that you think will really be there for the end of the season, like championship time.
well, it's a long list, but
That's fine.
I'll try and keep it
Let's
to
start with 4A.
start 4A. I believe 4A is open for the taking. That's my
Okay.
own personal opinion. I don't have a in my opinion, I don't believe there to be a clear favorite, and
Okay.
I kind of like it that way. I think there's multiple teams that can make a run at it.
Right.
Uh, Out east, you
Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're huge. Yep.
Kalen Grion at guard. They're going to be a
Yeah.
tough out for a lot of teams. They played a very good schedule in the
Sure.
first half of the year and a very
I
good
agree.
conference schedule. Uh, I, I also really like South Garner in their conference that they can play. I think they can make a
Mm-hmm.
solid run at it. Uh, Trying to think, Chapel Hill's not bad. Uh, the Smith sisters,
Yeah.
they're really good.
They There's three
Uh,
of them, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I no, I know it's two.
So I
I
know the
know two.
oldest sister. I thought it was like two twins, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe they don't. I might be wrong.
No, Laney's committed to play
Yeah.
volleyball at Illinois, but she's equally as good at
Mm-hmm.
basketball. She could play D1 anywhere. But the youngest one's a sophomore and about as tall as
Right.
Laney is.
Okay.
So they're going to be. I think their size is going to give some teams some
Yeah.
problems. Uh, Middle Creek has played well. Green Level's played well. I mean, it's 4A East across the board. I think there's some really good teams.
Okay.
Uh, Out west, uh, I feel like the conversation starts with those with Lake Norman, Charlotte Catholic, Independence, Mallard Creek,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
I
North
agree.
Mech really good. I
Yep.
like I like I like all five of those teams. I know Catholic just got a big win over Indy yesterday, and they beat South Mech tonight as well. I like South Mech too. I think
Yeah.
they're good as well. But I feel like between Lake Norman, Catholic, Indy, and Mallard Creek, I think is kind of a
Yeah.
those four teams are kind of the top stack.
Yeah.
But
Watauga.
there's
I think Watauga will
oh
be
yeah,
in there.
Watauga as well. Yes,
Watauga will be in there as well.
Watauga definitely be in the mix. Absolutely,
Yeah, for
yes.
sure. What
They
about
were fun.
so? I'm thinking back to last year. I think the Western region won 1A, 2A, and 3A, and then Panther Creek won 4A.
Correct. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So, do you think the East might steal a couple this year?
Well, personally, I've done a lot of work out east. I want to believe that's the case,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I actually here's what I'll say. I feel most confident in the 2A East this year
Hmm.
more than the other three. That's my own opinion.
Okay. What
Uh,
2A teams? Because we know, I mean, North Pitt, understandably, is on that list. Who else is on there?
the Seaforth Hawks, the defending regional champions, are very
Okay.
good. They're going to be very tough to beat. They're very team oriented, and they also have a high major level guard in
They
Gabby
do.
White that can play.
Yes.
Obviously, North Pitt will have the two best players on the court at all times. I think the rest of the year, Zamaria Jones and Jordan Speller.
Yes.
They're getting production from Ziona Lightfoot in the post, Kene
Mm-hmm.
Edwards at guard as well. They can get production from them. They will
So
be very tough to beat.
the Lightfoot kid, I saw her at the Select 60 event, if I'm not mistaken. And I was like, oh, she's going to North Pitt. I was like, oh, she's going to be good for them because, you know, the more players you have surrounding good players, it just helps them out because you can't just sit back and, double team them or do stuff like that. You have to actually guard. So she does a great job of helping those two out. Jordan's amazing on her own, but then
Absolutely.
add her and Zamaria together is amazing. So it's great to have that combination. I saw that they lost a game. Who was that to? They lost to somebody in uh and that would be
South Central,
South Central. That's what it was.
South
Um,
Central, right in Pitt County.
okay.
They are they are particularly really good. Very young team,
Yeah,
but they've got some kids that can go. Brooke Evans, Jaden Boswell, Niani Mayo.
okay.
They're kind of balanced across the board. And then they have Sabrea Baker off the bench who can shoot the lights out
Mm,
from three. But they're very balanced, and they've
mm,
really played their best basketball recently. I mean, they just beat their arch rival Rose 55-8 tonight.
okay.
So they they've been taking care of business in conference play. They actually lost to North Pitt the first time they played by 25
Right.
at their place in November. Came back and won by 15 in the first week of January.
Okay.
They'll be a tough out in the 3A East for sure.
Yeah, so they're 3A.
Yes, sir, they are.
All right, they're 3A. So the 3A East, they'll be solid. Is there any other teams in 3A? Because I know 3A is probably one of like the Western region. It's probably going to be pretty heavy.
Yes, it is.
And Western
Absolutely.
Red's still the head of it, but it's still going to be
I
really
agree.
heavy. I think Western Red, Robinson, Northwest Cabarrus has been really good this year. I'm missing somebody, and AC Reynolds. AC Reynolds
AC
is
AC Reynolds is 4A, I believe.
they're
Or they?
they're 3A.
Oh, they are 3A.
They're 3A. If I'm not mistaken, I think I saw that on Max Preps, because I was thinking they were 4A too, and I looked it up, and if I'm not, and I might be mistaken because I have a tendency to do that, but if I'm not mistaken, I believe they are 3A. Because I was like, oh well, nobody has to play them. That's a good thing. But I think they'll be 3A this year. I know they were 4A before them. So
The AC Reynolds just coming off a win over Myers Park, who previously undefeated.
yep, that's big too. And they have the two Harvey sisters that are really good.
Oh, bro, I watched them in December play Lake Norman to a really good game.
Yep. Yep.
And they beat North Mech too at
They
the
did.
Title IX. They were very fun to watch.
They,
Julie Janice
they're gonna be
committed
a
to the job was really good.
they're gonna be a hard out in their 3A division. So I think 3A and 4A both have a lot of talent. 1A, I'm sorry, I feel like Bishop McGinnis is just kind of kind of just better than everybody. Albemarle's been really good. Norfolk Rand is really good on our side. Any good teams on that 1A side?
I'm like you after watching how Bishop
Yeah.
McGinnis defeated Independence at the John Wall without the arguably top 25
Yeah.
in the state, Adelaide Jernigan.
I agree.
I mean, they beat Albemarle by 25 just last week.
Yeah.
They've played a very challenging schedule this year, and they're going to play Winston-Salem Christian's national team.
Oh, okay.
They've played Charlotte Catholic did put one on them last week.
Okay.
But they between Adelaide Jernigan and Emma Wagner and Kirsten Varner, I find it hard to believe that there's a team that could beat them. But in terms of East contenders, I believe in the 252 you've got Perquimans and Gates County fighting it out in the Four Rivers 1A.
Okay.
Perquimans has the regular season sweep over Gates, but Gates came to my event on a quick turnaround the first game of the day and beat Falls Lake Academy led by Emerson Thompson by double figures.
Okay.
And they were, I think they're the top team in the RPI for the 1A East. So there's also Northampton County's got Michaela Hodge, the Hofstra commit, daughter of Julius Hodge.
Yeah, shout out to Coach Banks.
Coach
Banks. Shout out to Coach
Banks.
Banks.
Coach Banks, absolutely. They just they lost to Northwest Halifax in their conference. It's also really good. But they came back and beat them to split the season series. So I think it's going to come down to the conference tournament for them.
Yeah.
I would say those are the top 1A East teams.
Okay. So I'm going to do the same thing I did to Coach Crayton. We've been doing the fantasy basketball tournament for our local Bar Hoops area. We're down to the Elite 8. So I'm going to go through the matchups. You just tell me who you got winning and why. First matchup, Myers Park versus Cannon.
Oh, come on, man. You're going to do this on the first matchup,
That's
man?
literally because they were the one. Myers Park was the 1 seed. Cannon's the 8 seed. So
like this is a hypothetical.
Yeah, this is hypothetical if they were to play each other.
Now, at full strength, Myers Park having Raven Lazander back is a big deal. They're going to be a tough team to beat in 4A West. But I believe that Cannon would present some matchup problems. This is kind of where the lack of a true post player might actually be a good thing. Because you could have Kiki Morrow playing at the 5 and potentially Maya at the 4 or something like that. and or Matty Drayton at the 4.
Mm-hmm.
I probably would take Cannon, but closer than people think, I would say.
Definitely. I understand that. All right, second one was West Rowan versus Albemarle.
Oh, that would be a fantastic guard matchup
For
between
sure.
Baldwin and T. Thompson,
Yep.
Demaya Pfeiffer.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I think Albemarle would challenge early, but I think is West Rowan, they so disciplined and efficient.
Very
I
much
mean,
so.
they that's why they were able to win states last year. That's why they have a great shot at it this year. Although, as you mentioned, AC Reynolds is going to present a big challenge
They're
there.
definitely going to come. They're definitely going to
They're
come to compete. I agree.
uh, with all due respect to Albemarle, I'll take West Rowan on that one.
Got you. There's nothing wrong with that because Albemarle a heck of a
Oh yeah,
team as well.
they're probably
Uh,
going to be close to regional final type of
I
deal
think
this year. I
so.
would
I
say.
really like. I watched them. I watched North Rowan. Just watching film on them, and I really think those two teams are going to surprise some people.
North Rowan's
In
good
those
too.
games.
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
when
I
they
think
have.
they play Albemarle too.
So they already played them once. North Rowan won, but it wasn't a bad game. Like it wasn't like they blew them out or anything. Next game, Lake Norman versus Independence.
Oof, I'm glad.
Mhm.
That sounds like a regional final type of deal right there.
They definitely they played each other. I want to feel like in the playoffs last year, if I'm not mistaken.
I I know that's already that is a high level guard matchup,
For
and
sure,
I mean Cam Kitchen has the case to also be the top 2025 in this state.
for
She's
sure.
very much honestly across those 25s between Jernigan, Kitchen, and Gabby White,
Yep.
like they're all so ridiculously good. But I would in this Lake Norman Indy game, in a way, like I mentioned about Camden earlier,
Hmm.
uh, Lake Norman not having as much size might actually be a plus for them.
Yeah, but
I,
neither team really has
but
size. So
that's true.
both of those teams are small. Well, not small, but
I
they
think
don't have a true big.
I think from what I've seen, I feel like Lake Norman on the glass might get tested a lot. That's why I think maybe Chloe Moss could present some problems to them in a
I see that.
hypothetical game. Uh, I don't want to pick one over the other. That's so tough.
Gotta pick
Like,
one. Gotta
gotta
pick
pick.
one.
Uh, what I will say is, I I rock with Independence, but at the same time, they have lost twice to Catholic now,
Hmm.
and I honestly think I think it's one possession either way, but I probably would go with Lake Norman.
Okay. All right. So it doesn't get easier. I'm just gonna tell you that.
Oh
This is
boy.
the last game now. Charlotte Catholic versus Mallard Creek.
Woof. Now that is a true contrast to styles.
Yes, it is.
Mallet Creek, very fast, aggressive defensively,
Hmm.
got multiple players they could go to. Uh, Catholic, honestly, in that regard, is the same way, but they're more post player oriented. I think I'd say
Hmm.
Mallet Creek, they go to their guards, Stone and Young, or both
Hmm.
Stone sisters and Young.
Hmm.
Uh, I think is while I probably like Catholic's experience in this. I would
Yep.
say they've been there. I think they're on a mission to get back, and it's very clear. I mean, they just went back to back nights, beat Independence and South Mac, who I like.
Right.
Really, I like both of those teams.
Right.
That's also possession game either way. I'd probably go
Yeah.
Catholic.
Okay. And that's what I don't mind either way because I think that could be a game that's
Yeah,
in
I could.
the
That's a
in
regional
that
final
regional
type game right
finals.
there.
All
Yeah.
four of those last four teams I named, I feel like for West, those might be the teams that it run through. I mean, Myers Park's still going to be really good.
Yes.
And there'll be a couple other teams. I think Hickory Ridge has been much
Yes.
improved. And there's still so many other good teams that will be a part of it.
I
So
like Audrey. I like Audrey Kell a lot.
RG Kell, I mean, I think they still have to be able to slow people down. They can't get in a track meet with everybody, but I think they're learning as they go. Autumn Washington has been
Oof.
amazing.
Man, that
out of this
Georgia play.
world.
She's
Even Marvin Ridge and Porter Ridge are really good teams. So
mhm.
4A's going to be a gauntlet. I think whoever, like, it's going to be a lot of good first round games.
Oh yeah.
That we probably usually wouldn't see. I know like Lake Norman went through a gauntlet last year where they had a lot of good teams they had to play, but it's going to be even better this year. I hope whoever that one seed is doesn't get that gauntlet that Lake Norman got last year because I really don't know how they made it out of it. So,
I was gonna say because you could potentially have a case where they're probably playing like a South Mech round
mhm.
3, and then have to play like Mallard Creek or something
Yep,
round, or I'm sorry, round 2, and then
yep.
play at Mallard Creek in the third round or something like that, and that's going to be a possession game either way. Like
And those
that's
are all matchups that happen. Like Mallard Creek and Lake Norman played last year, but
mhm,
everybody had to go to Lake Norman last year, and
yep.
it might have to go through that again because I think right now Wataugas is the number one rated team, if I'm not mistaken. High school overtime did theirs, and I think Wataugas number one. But that could change as the year go on. But either way, I think it's going to be an amazing playoffs. I'm glad that private school playoffs end earlier than public schools, so I can go watch some of those games. But I appreciate you joining us today. Uh, thank you. Everybody, go like, comment, subscribe on his channel. He's a great person to look after because I want to be like that one day. You know, you got
Oh,
a lot of
don't click. Oh, come on.
subscribers.
Hey, I appreciate you having me, Coach. It
For
means a lot,
sure,
and I definitely want to do this again sometime.
for sure.
Whenever you ask, man, I love baller hoops. I love what you guys are doing with it.
Appreciate that,
Uh,
man.
this this platform is big in the Charlotte metropolitan and beyond, and it's only going to keep growing. And you're doing such a great job with it, man.
I appreciate that so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, man. You have a good night. Everybody else, y'all have a good night as well. Thank
Thank you.
y'all.
Thank you.
I appreciate everybody that joined us today. Blessings, blessings, blessings. Hope everybody enjoys the rest of their week. It's been a great basketball night. Enjoy the rest of the games this week.